2 races down and we've seen 2 victories for the Ferrari Hypercar. So we arrive here in Spa-Francorchamps ready for round 3, where their competitors are getting more and more hungry to take their first win of the season. And when you look to LMGT3, it's as close, competitive and spicy as ever. And Spa, it always delivers. It's got action, it'll bring drama and some potentially season-defining moments. So, welcome to your race preview for the TotalEnergies 6 Hours of Spa. And I'm delighted to be joined by our resident WEC expert, Sam Smith, right here at the iconic Eau Rouge, because it would have been remiss of us to start anywhere else, really, wouldn't it, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, it's such an iconic circuit, such an iconic part of the track. You've got a sort of filter from left to right to left with a crest, cars bottom out, extremely difficult in the wet. It's actually not easy in the dry, but what it does is it feeds onto the straight, the Camel Straight into Les Combes, and is a really good opportunity for the drivers to overtake into there. But Spa is so much more about Eau Rouge. You've got Pouon, this incredible double apex left-hander downhill, and then you've got the piff-paff chicane, as they call it in these local parts. The Blanchimont double left kinks as well, and then the final bus stop chicane. I mean, it's got just about every challenge in motorsport, international motorsport, and it is a true driver's track, a true racer's track.
Well, how about we delve into those challenges a little bit more? Perhaps the one that everybody talks about when we come to Spa. It's sunny. What's the weather going to do for the rest of the weekend?
Well, it's stable. They say it's going to be dry, but they say is different to what actually happens at Spa. Forecasts don't mean an awful lot here in reality. It's a microclimate in the Ardennes forest. Little clusters of showers do form and deposit on the track pretty quickly, so you've got to react. I mean, that'll be part of the fabric and the makeup of the strategies of the teams and the drivers to just try and make the right call at the right time. We don't expect it, but never say never at Spa. It really does surprise them pretty much every hour of the race.
A 100% win rate for the Ferrari Hypercar in 2025. It's not a bad way to start the season, Sam, but how are they looking set now as we head into Spa?
Well, they're looking for a hat-trick, aren't they? I think in their minds that would be the perfect start to the season. They've been super strong on pretty much every level. Those doubts that we saw last year, those mistakes, haven't happened this season.
Right.
Everything feels tighter. They've worked a lot on the car. You know, vehicle dynamically over the chicanes that we saw at Imola, they just look visibly better on getting the traction down, using their tyres well, making the right calls. It's just a perfect all-round package that has delivered this perfect 100% score so far this season.
5 different manufacturers currently sitting in the top 5 for the LMGT3 drivers' standings, only separated by 21 points. Shows just how competitive their start to the season's been.
Hugely, Alexa. I think that's a little microcosm of the LMGT3 class this year. It's going to be ultra close. We're going to have multiple winners. We're going to have different manufacturers exploiting what they have at different configurations of circuit, and we've seen that so far. I mean, we're outside the TF Sport guys who lead the championship with the 33 car, of course, who won at Qatar and then got a decent points haul from difficult position. You remember the Keating spinning the car after contact with the Iron Dames, I think, wasn't it, in the early phase of Imola. They recovered, and that's all part of making a championship challenge when you have difficult days and you're able to get a good punch of points. But yeah, too hard to call, too close here. But wait for the predictions, because I think I've got a little another little nugget of who's going to win here this weekend.
Well, you did just say the phrase "too hard to call," but something that will give you your flowers, you did in fact call last time out. A Manthey victory, finally returning to the top step, where after last year's successes, we're very used to seeing them.
Yeah, and of course they won here last year as well, didn't they, with their 91 car, and Ricard Leitz is going for a double in that team, and he was just superb. Yeah, they've got a really nice package. They know Spa intimately. They're going to be quick, and I think they'll be another threat to potentially get a double.
And if there's one team that does particularly have a decent history with Spa, well, it's this one right behind me, Hertz Team Jota. They first got their Porsche 963 here 2 years ago. They won here with it last year, and now they get to make their debut here, but with the Cadillac.
They've always had a strong affinity with Spa-Francorchamps with Jota. They've won here several times in the past. They sort of squared the circle, didn't they, last season? They had debuted the year before with the Porsche 963, got that win. Fantastic job by Callum Ilott and with Will Stevens last season. New package, they're still finding their feet a little bit, but I think the inherent pace of that and the quality of the Jota team, I think they could be a definite front runner. They need it for sure, but it'd be a really good springboard into Le Mans for this team as well.
And if we're going to talk about the other winners from last year, we've already mentioned the Porsche victory with Ricard Leitz, but the other driver who was involved in that was obviously Yasser Shahin, who's now with BMW, and that BMW does seem to be making really strong progress in LMGT3.
They do. If he is able to string together some of what we saw last season, then they're going to be right in the mix. And the BMW, lots of changes on that car, and they're now gelling that all together and coming up with a package which seems to work on different track configurations. So yeah, lots of promise for them. That would be a big fillip for the team to get another victory here, because they've got a great history of success in the WEC at Spa.
You've just mentioned WRT and their home race this weekend, but it's also worth mentioning we've got a few drivers that, for the likes of Stoffel van Dorn, finally get to have their home race here after missing it last year.
Yeah, lots for the home Belgian fans to look forward to, and the driving array of talent on the grid. Stoffel van Dorn, as you just mentioned, of course, Laurens Vanthoor, who is the reigning champion from last year, of course, a huge fan favourite here. And then we've got Tom van Rompuy, obviously in LMGT3. Maxime Martin, of course, who has won here many times and knows the place. It's going to be interesting to see how things develop for the Belgians. But, you know, it's been a while, actually, since they last had somebody on the top step. So maybe this year it could be Laurens's year.
And we've also got some new faces here this weekend that it's worth for some of the fans to be keeping an eye out for.
Yeah, joining Laurens in the number 6 car is going to be Pascal Wehrlein, the reigning Formula E champion. He's extremely quick, you know, ex-F1 driver, extremely rapid, got a lot of ambition for endurance racing, I think, a bit later on in his career. And in the number 5 car, we got Nico Müller, a familiar face. Obviously, he's driven for Peugeot in the last couple of seasons and technically very adept. So, yeah, some good choices there. And good to see some new faces in the hypercar category as well. But I think ultimately Porsche will come back pretty strongly from a very tough start to the year and when they try and defend their title.
And with Ferrari having largely dominated the podium this season, I found it's almost been a little bit trickier to work out who else is there to challenge them. But give me your hot take, Sam. Who should we be looking out for to head up the rest of the podium this weekend?
Well, the two that we've already mentioned are Cadillac and Porsche, and I think they'll be much closer than they have been in previous races. But also the pair that were on the podium in Imola.
Yes, very good point.
Alpine and BMW. BMW got their best result with the number 20 car at Imola. Went off strategy and did a really good job to execute that. Similar story with the 36 with Gunnar Makovic and Mick Schumacher, who did a super job as well to just get that advantage and get a podium. It's a bit of a surprise to them actually at the end that they were ahead of the 83 in particular. But you know, I don't think we'll get a complete hierarchy like we've seen in the championship so far this season.
Interesting.
I think there'll be a sort of couple of clusters that we could see. We don't know what order they're going to be in yet, but I'm not anticipating. I mean, I'm anticipating the Ferraris and the Toyotas to be quick, but I'm not sure they're going to be right at the front. But watch out for Cadillac. Watch out as well for the Les Bleus with the Alpines, because I think they could be factored into potential at least a podium, and who knows, with strategy and safety cars and full course yellows, maybe even more.
And then let's talk LMGT3, because my instinct is Ferrari have dominated in hypercar, but we've really sort of not seen them pick up any momentum in LMGT3 this year. Are they ones to be looking out for here, or is there someone else that you think could challenge even more?
Yeah, I think Ferrari is a good shout. My suspicion is that the 21 car would have been there or thereabouts in Imola. They got punted off by Rossi. Obviously, Simon Mann was very unfortunate there. They were brewing up into a really good race then. Rivera was yet to get in the car. That car, you know, Francois Heriot, I think he goes under the radar quite a lot. I think he does a superb job.
That's a very fair point.
And I think he, you know, if he's as good as he has been in the last sort of 4 or 5 races, I think they'll be in a really good position. As well as that, the Aston Martins, bit of a sort of unknown quantity, but they've got a really good record here at Spa. So I expect potentially 27 to be right up there. And the newbies, the Spirit of Le Mans, who have done a great job. Eduardo Barrichello has got some experience in lower formula here at Spa and could be pretty decent as well. United Autosports, you know, they were pretty good here last year, didn't get the ultimate result that they deserved. They've had some podiums, really disappointing. Imola for them didn't suit the characteristics of their car, but I think there could be a good splash of papaya in the higher echelons of the results come Saturday afternoon.
So whilst we seem to have mentioned just about every team in that Challenger section, it's your favourite time of the video, Sam, let's go specific. Who are the predictions? Because you've had a pretty good run of it so far.
Well, I wasn't going to mention it, Alexa, but you did.
There we go.
Superb record, accomplished record of predictions. Will that continue? I tell you what, I will predict
mentioning it.
It's going to be extremely close. It's going to be amazing race. I don't think it can't be anything other than a really close battle between multiple manufacturers. So a lot of stuff to get really excited about on Saturday. I'm going to go for a first ever BMW overall win in the WEC, and I'm going to go for just a question of whether it's 15 or 20. I'm going to go for 15.
And is that you also predicting a clean sweep for WRT in the BMW and LMGT3? Or you're going another direction there?
It's tempting, isn't it? It's tempting to do that. I mean, I'm actually going to book that dream scenario. I'm going to go for United Autosports again to get their first, for McLaren to get their first WEC victory. Which car? I'm going to go with 95. I think they learnt a lot from last season. Characteristics of that McLaren should work well here, and I think United will be a very strong proposition in LMGT3.
Lovely stuff, Sam. Well, we're going to have to start making a spreadsheet of your predictions for the season and establishing that win rate, because I think you're doing fairly well. So,
well, you know me, modest, Alex. I don't like to talk about it.
I've actually got to stop bigging him up like this. It's getting out of hand. So thank you, Sam, and thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, this week we go racing on Saturday, not Sunday. A little bit different here in Spa, but it's going to be one hell of a race. This is one you absolutely do not want to miss. Follow along with all of the action on FIAWEC.tv. We'll see you there.